I'm Cathy from Eclectic Images and thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to do a watercoloured scene and just with some very cool products that are very cool products in the craft industry at the moment. I'm going to add in, as well as watercolouring, we're going to be watercolouring with the Gansai Tambi paints, which are very much popular at the moment, and add in a little bit of the new granulating colours, which are just amazing. But also add in some masking fluid, which is something that's been used by artists for years, but I'm seeing it becoming more and more popular in the craft world as well. So let's have a little bit of a look at what we're going to do to create our scene. It's going to be our Aussie Beach scene, which is here. And maybe one of the grasses out of the tall grasses set, but I'm not 100% sure yet. We'll see how it looks. But definitely the Aussie Beach. I'll use both the beach scene and a couple of the seagulls. We'll also use a little bit of the Eclectic Images circle stencil set. We're going to be adding in this really cool masking fluid, Montmartre masking fluid, which is great. Our ink will be the Versafine Clear Nocturne. And our paints, I've got the Gansai Tambi 48 set here, which has got so many colours. It's really cool. And I've also got the granulating colours as well. So that's a set of 5 colours, and as you can see on the box, the colours separate out into these extra colours. Whereas the standard Gansai Tambis are either a metallic or a flat colour. Now with the Gansai Tambis, I have swatched them out. They provide a swatch chart on the lid. So I've swatched them out so I can see at a glance what colour I want to use. So I'll pop that nearby so I can refer to that. Bring these colours back closer to me to use. I will be putting a little bit of water onto the colours that I know I want to activate them. And one of those in particular is going to be this beautiful blue up here, which is the turquoise blue. Turquoise blue. So I have a pipette and a glass of water, so I can add some blue to that already because I know I want that for the water. Let's grab some lighter blues for in the sky. Just checking what other colours might go together. We want some Prussian blue, which is the 4th one in, and probably some, I might go that one, cobalt blue. Okay, so when I was developing this card, I've stamped the card on my cotton blend cardstock with the Versafine Clear Nocturne. I've then used the masking fluid, and to use the masking fluid, it's a latex product, which means wash your brush straight away afterwards because it will get wrecked, and don't use your best brush to apply it. But it's just a matter of picking up, and I won't put it onto this card because I've got that already dried, ready to go. I'll put a bit on this one. So just pick a little bit up with your brush and then put it in the areas where you don't want the colour to take. So where you want it to protect it from a colour. And then you just leave it to dry, and that's basically it. So then we can do watercolours or shading or whatever over the top, and that area will stay protected. So now I wanted to show you also, so when I was doing, so I've already got the masking fluid on this card ready. I've stamped it with the Versafine Clear. I've added the masking fluid into the tops of the waves, the wave crests, but also I used our tiny circle stencil just to give myself a nice circular shape for our moon on our setting sun on the horizon. Okay, so that's all I need the stencil for in this one. I want to show you a couple of options for this card. One of them is to, where the stamp doesn't always go as wide on the card as you want, you can just let the watercolours flow out from that image. Oh dear. What about a grape, darling? Have you eaten all your grapes?
He did try to share the rock with the dog. He's being very kind.
We might step back a little bit on that one, just get it.
Sorry.
I've held the position.
We change shots so we can
Pick it up again. Okay, so this one has also been stamped in the, it's actually been stamped and embossed, this one in black, but it's been coloured with a mixture of shimmer dust and ink off ink pads. But where the design finishes, I've let the watercolours spread out further. So it gives a slightly wider image, and it just means that it finishes the edge. It doesn't finish the edges. They just drift out softly. The other way you can do, and on this sample I've done the wafting out bit a little bit, but also the other way you can do it is you can put a low tack tape on and actually create a crisp edge for your watercolour, and that's what I'm going to do today on this one. So create those really crisp lines. Okay, and you can see that after I've taken the masking fluid out, how those crests of the waves has stayed quite light. Okay, so here's our card. We will tape it down. So I'll use lines on the grid mat to help me get the tape straight. And I've put it down upside down because I know it's easier for me to colour with it upside down. So I'm going to bring this in close to the edge of the design. Just got to make sure that I don't shift that card while I'm getting the first bit on. Once I've got the first bit on, it's all more held in place and will behave itself much better. So I'm checking where I am on the grid lines, smoothing that down. There we go. As I said, now that'll sit in place and I'll be fine. But I want to get the next bit, the other side on about the same depth onto the card. Although if I was a little bit different, I could always trim it off later. But we know we want about that much off. Where I'm still eyeing up the lines on the mat, the grid lines. And I need to press it down nice and firmly along the edge where the paint's going to go. I'm going to do some more singing, little one. Rah. Now I also can see through this tape to see that I've got it on fairly evenly, which does help. And one more piece. So we can then paint right up to those edges and it will all stay put. Although if we do get a little bit of bleeding, that's not going to worry me. I would prefer it not to. I'd prefer it to have that crisp edge, but a little bit of bleeding's not the end of the world. Okay, but let's start with I'm going to be able to shift my mat around a bit so that I can get to working at a nice angle for me. And I'm going to start with our sand dunes. So let's pick a nice creamy colour. With maybe, I'm just checking my colours on here. Don't want to go too yellowy. So I've picked natural beige. We might go just a little bit of raw umber. So just a drop of water on those to activate them. Then I've got my bit of paper towel here for cleaning brushes out on. We're going to put some clean water on my mat. In fact, I'll just do that with the pipette. And let's get started. So we'll lay down some clean water first. Just make sure that my brushes are cleaned from the last thing I did with them. So I'm covering the area of the sand dunes. Then we can pop on that lovely creamy colour. Now the Gansai Tambi colours are quite creamy, so it means that they could actually, if you put them on too creamy, they'll be a bit more like a gouache, and they might actually obliterate some of our stamped lines. So that's a reason for actually keeping them quite light. Just going to turn my brush around that way a bit So I'm getting the tip of the brush up to the edge of my stamped picture. Then I'll use the clean brush just to go over that a little bit. A bit more this side. Now let's use my smaller brush. So I am working with 3 brushes just so I don't have to stop and clean them or waste colour. So I'm picking up a little bit of the raw umber. Let's put that in our corners. And I'll use the clean brush just to add a bit of extra water there and tease that out a bit. I also want it, I can put down the cream brush now, I also want it a little bit shading along where the sand dunes might be creating a shadow on the next one, but we want that edge nice and soft there. So let's just push a bit of water in there. So let's go along the bottom. Don't forget, watercolours do dry lighter. So if it sometimes looks like you're putting on too much, you're probably not. So push some water into that. Let it waft around a bit. A little bit in behind. Where sand, as I said before, where a sand dune might be creating a bit of a shadow. Let's add a touch all the way along there in behind. And a little bit more up this edge. Again, pick up some clean water, wash it into that and let that do its thing, drift out a bit. Blend with our creamy colour, and I really like that. I'll just soften this one a little bit. Okay, I'm going to give my brushes a good wipe out, give them a good clean, and we'll move on. I might do the hill bits next, so I'm getting a space between where I'm colouring, then I'll come back in and start doing the water. So for this, I'm actually going to bring in these granulating colours, and we'll use the orange, which I know has got a fair bit of green in it. So I think this will be good for our hillsides. So, but the granulating colours work best when they've got lots of water mixed with them. So let's lay down quite a bit of water there. Pick up some of that Aurora orange. So it comes out quite a greeny tone, but with the, as you put water into it, you'll see the orange come through. So we'll get some highlights happening there for our hillside. Let's clean that. I'm going to add a bit more water in, and you'll see that orange coming through a little bit more. We have a very growly boy there. Yeah, I think he's actually teasing the dog. Just move it around a bit, see how that's bringing those colours out. So yeah, the granulating colours are awesome because you almost don't know what you're going to get. Now this time I'm going to put it on where it's a bit more rocky. We'll paint it on, but not bleed it out with water as much this time. And it will maintain more of a darker shade. Okay, they're a lot of fun to play with. We might come back to them for the sky, I think. Let's do some water texture though. So give my brush a good clean again. Now, so our colours that we're going to use for our ocean. In the turquoisey lines, I picked the turquoise blue. We'll add in some turquoise green could look good too, couldn't it? Ooh. So that would be turquoise green is the third one in there. Ooh, let's put some water on that one to activate it. I'm just checking on my colour chart that I've got it, because I'm looking at it upside down to what the paints are. So just checking, I've got turquoise blue, turquoise green, and then we might get a little bit of this blue grey deep, which is in our next line. It is hard to tell the colours sometimes just looking at them, which is why it's great to have them swatched out. Okay. And a little bit of this lightest one too. We'll see what we can fit in. In this area here, we might fit in quite a bit more, and up here, but in the waves, we probably won't get as much room for variation of colour. Hello, little one. And again, I'm going to have my 3 brushes on the go here for this one. Let's give you this brush that's clean. Teddy's come along to play with some brushes. Are you going to say hello, Teddy? Can you come up and say hello? Hello. Hello. Here's our Teddy. Cheeky one. But I'll let him have a brush that's clean because he's probably going to suck on it. Don't really want him sucking on the inky ones. What you got? Okay, let's get back to work. So, we've got a clean brush, we've got a light, we're going to add the lighter blue on this one. We've got clean water on this one, so let's pop a bit of water in. And we don't have to worry at all about where that, where the crest of the wave is, because it's protected by the masking fluid. But I still think that our water is going to get lighter as it builds up to that crest. So we're going to add our deeper areas further down. How cool is that colour? Now I can butt it right up to that edge where I've got the tape. Now I'm going to deliberately try and move the brush acrossways a bit to increase the water texture there. And let's grab a little bit of that deeper, it was the deep turquoise green. So I think that will work beautifully in with these other colours. Okay, now let's repeat that process. We're going to add some, I think Teddy would like to be playing with what we don't want him to be playing with. That doesn't go down well. So just going to move that, push it down a bit towards. So what we want is a little bit of darker blue just below, so just behind the previous wave crest. So we want deeper blue in here, and it then going lighter as the wave is curling over. So I'm just dabbing a bit of water in, letting it bleed a bit into the water, and that hopefully will give us a bit of almost movement to the wave. Let's go back with our lighter blue. So the joy of that masking fluid is I can take the colour right up to where I want it to stop, but it's not actually going to colour the card at that point. So again, let's add in some more water. Let it bleed and do its thing. Give it a bit of a tease. Okay, now I'd like a little bit of, we've actually got a little bit of masking fluid in the middle there to create a few lighter patches on our ocean. So I really only want a little bit of light, the lighter colour in the centre there, because I want the rest of this part of the ocean to look quite deep. So we'll just wash that out. So instead of working from the wave, we're now going to be working from where our water is hit by the light to further out to create the look of depth. So we'll go with our next turquoise colour. Now just be a little bit careful up close to the edge of the hills there, the hills or cliffs. Sounds like there's something dastardly happening over there. Now let's just pick up some of that deepest colour that we used down here and put that out at the depths of the ocean out here. Meh, meh, meh. And I am going to turn my board around a bit so I can just not push it into the horizon. Let's clean our brush off. Grab a bit of water and just push that around a bit. So hopefully that's creating some real depth happening there. Now, I probably do need it to dry a little bit before I do the sky, otherwise the sea and the sky will just bleed in together. So while that's happening, I will rinse my brushes and I'll have a look at our other colours and we'll have a think, do we want to use one of the granulating colours for the sky, or do we want to use a flat colour? I'm thinking maybe one of the granulating ones, the blue, just because it will create a really interesting look. And we might work from, I'm going to turn the mat again because I'm going to work from making the darkest part up here, washing it out to being a bit lighter. So we have a clean brush. Let's put a bit of water on our mat. So we know the granulating colours like a lot of water. Now it doesn't look like a blue at all, Aurora blue, but it will give us some blue. I'm not promising it's not going to give us a few other colours as well. So let's put that there. We're going to pick up some of that and actually add some more water to it. And now get our clean brush. Try not to let it touch those turquoises of the ocean. Now let's add it a bit deeper. So we'll grab some more. Creates quite a stormy sky, doesn't it? Do I stop there? Come on, Lawrence, do we stop or do we add more colours?
Nah, go more colours.
Go more colours? Okay, let's switch to... Remember I put some water on the deep... Let's have a look at our colour chart. The blue-grey deep, which was this one. And I know I use this a lot, but it is very effective. Now I've started with it, I'm not stopping, am I? Oh, I need straight water there. Better. I prefer blobs rather than lines. Okay, let's swing this back around here. I'm loving those turquoisey blues in the ocean. I'm just wanting to bring this in a little bit closer to our cliffs. Let's push some of that dark back. We've lost a little bit of our Aurora colour in there, so I'm just going to clean off my little brush and grab a dab more of Aurora blue. That's better. See how this just gives it a bit more interest? So push it back a little bit. Now I'm working on the 210 GSM cotton blend card here. Because I've actually ended up flooding a fair bit of water in this, I probably could have quite easily gone to the 300 GSM. Hello, there's a little hand here trying to help. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, give my brushes a quick rinse. Oh, we bumped a toe.
We're just going to pause there and we'll pick it up in a minute.
We bumped a toe. What is it? Who's that little tiger?
Just
okay.
Being such a menace. So we'll grab a 4mm cardboard tube, just magnifying the noise.
I thought it would be good for him to play with. I didn't think of him magnifying.
He was just like...
Okay, should we come back to this?
Yeah. You ready to pick it up?
Yes.
Whenever you're ready, I forgot I'm still rolling.
Okay, so we rinse our brushes and then I'll just give our craft mat a quick wipe as well. And I'm going to get the heat gun and make sure that's nice and dry. And also this will help to soften the tape, ready for us to actually lift the tape out of there. Hello, little pumpkin, you're back again. You don't know what Nana is doing. Okay, let's give a go at peeling our tape. Okay, which is the last bit that I put on. Oh, that's nice. Of course, if you wanted to, often this tape can be used a couple of times. We could just store that on a bit of acetate or something and use it again, but usually I get it knotted up as I'm taking it off. So, pull it gently, and I usually find I like to pull at an angle. I get the tape coming off better with less chance of damaging the underlying paper. If I just pull it that way rather than just tearing straight up. So this one, I'll drag it this way. I've got a bit of tearing there, so I'm going to heat that again. And I'll start from this end. I've got some tearing happening back here, but not at my design. So I could always trim that edge off a little bit. Excellent. See, doesn't that crisp edge look really good? That is awesome. Okay, our next stage is to take off our masking fluid. Now this can be done with an eraser, or you can just rub it with your hands. And you'll see that balling up and rubbing off. How cool is that? I do have to remember to be gentle. Sometimes I get a bit carried away, and that's when you're likely to damage the underlying paper. So just gently. And then let's tackle this moon up here. Oh, and there was a little bit across the water too, wasn't there? Okay. So that, how amazing is that, how it's protected that moon? Just get out. We use our frog tape just to clean up some of our little bits of masking fluid that are stuck on places. There we go. Okay, it tightens it up beautifully. Now we need to add our little birds in the sky, so we'll do that with some Versamark ink. You're probably not even hearing the background music today because we've got such a teddy chorus happening. Now another thing that can be really interesting when you use these, doing the edges with the tape, is then letting some of your stamping actually overlap into the white area. So that's what I'm going to do with these tall grasses. So I'll stamp onto our design a little bit, but mostly it's going to be going off the page. Now actually, because it's going off the page, I'll just add my scratch pad in underneath. So we'll just pop that in. Let's ink up. And now, because I'm going on to cotton blend cardstock and it's been watercoloured, I'm just going to let the stamp sit there for a minute for that pigment ink to sink in and do its job. See, that's wonderful, just having it going off the picture. Actually, you know what else would work really well there? The bulrushes would look really good too. Now, the only other thing I might do is just pick up a little bit of white or metallic white. I might grab, I'll get my paper towel back, rub all the blue off the brush and drop on a little bit of water onto the white and the metallic white. So I'm just going to come in and add a little bit of white just on those wave crests. Just take it off a bit from any of the stamped image parts because I don't want it actually, I'm wanting to put on rich enough that we see the white, but I don't want to put it on in such a way that we rub out any of our, obliterate any of our stamped edges. Hello, darling. Yeah. You'll love it when you can do crafting with Nana, won't you? And then let's grab a little bit of the metallic white. And add a bit of shine in there. And a tiny bit of grey into those seagulls. There we go. Well, I'm happy with that. I'm going to stop there. I'm just going to move the paints out of the way so I can bring that card down onto the black tablecloth and show you. Yes, little one, we've finished now. So that's our beautiful watercoloured card with the Gansai Tambis. Adding in a little bit of those granulating colours in with, using it with some of the other colours, getting that nice little bit of depth at some of our edges. And just that little bit of overstamping, which I think is pretty wicked. Okay, now before Teddy totally wrecks the place, let's finish up for today. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing some of the newer products, the granulating colours, and also, as I said, masking fluid, which has been around for years, but it is getting more popularity with our watercolour painting and stuff. So I hope you enjoyed seeing some of those products used together. Hope you enjoyed watching, and we'll see you again next time.